I'm Ashleigh Plumptre. I was born and raised in England, in Leicester. I currently play for Leicester as well, so I play for my hometown club, which is pretty nice. I started playing when I was 4, played for Leicester when I was 8 until I was 14, then went around to a few different clubs in England. So I played for Birmingham, Derby County, then went to Notts County before I went to America. So I played for University of Southern California in LA, and got back in December 2019, signed a 2-year contract with Leicester, and now we got promoted from the Championship to the Women's Super League for this season. So it's my first year in the Super League at the minute. Yeah, so I had experiences playing with England when I was younger and really enjoyed them. But I got to be honest, what football means to me now is different to what it was when I was younger. The biggest thing, I've said this in a few other interviews, but the biggest thing in my life is my family, pretty much, and my sister and I have 2 younger brothers and 1 younger sister. My sister and I, we have the same dad, so my dad's Nigerian, my granddad was born in Lagos. My 2 brothers have an English mum and their dad's also English. So my sister's upbringing has been a little bit different to mine, only because we're both Nigerian, but she's gone through things that I haven't, and we've kind of been interested in knowing about more of our heritage based upon how she identifies herself and how I do as well. So it's only been in the last couple of years, and especially last year during COVID, when my sister and I kind of bonded over the fact that we have this Nigerian heritage. And for me, she's only 11, and I feel like I can kind of help and advise her on a lot of things, but this was like a new journey for both of us, so it's like I'm taking her on the journey with me. Yeah, definitely. So I've spoken to my granddad a lot. He goes back and forth from Nigeria all the time. He lives in England now, but was brought up in Lagos, and like I said, is constantly coming back here. But yeah, for us, we're learning through him. We have other Nigerian relatives in England who go back and forth as well. So this is the first time in Nigeria for me, but at the minute I'm just trying to learn from my family, and I have family kind of all over the world, but they always come back to Nigeria, and at the minute it's kind of learning through them. Yeah, I got to be honest, it's a learning curve. Like, obviously African football is so different to European football in so many different ways, and I'm learning that when I was in Austria and now being here. And for me, I'm always, as a footballer, you should always be learning. And I think some of the things I potentially can help other girls with in terms of like tactical knowledge is interesting so far. But yeah, their athleticism and things like that are things that I'm not necessarily used to. So for me, I think it's important, because if I'm going to be invited to more camps, I need to know how to adapt. But it's also kind of blending both together, and I guess I have a bit of a British mentality at times. Like, I allow myself to get frustrated at things. Like off the pitch, I'm kind of smiley, and I can kind of, I don't know, I'm just nice, so to speak. But on the pitch, I can get frustrated very easily, and that has happened in a few training sessions. But what's nice here is, compared to being in England, where everybody is getting frustrated and swearing all the time, people just get on with it here, which is quite nice. Yeah, so like I said before, I'm kind of trying to learn through my sister and my grandfather at the minute. And actually the physio here, Priscilla, every time I see her in the evening, she kind of tries to teach me Yoruba words and things like that. Yeah, the culture, I think for me, just being thrown into Nigeria, I'm kind of forced to learn the culture anyway. I have to be here. I can learn as much as I want when I'm at home in England, but you'll never get a real feel if you're not actually here. So just little things for me it's fascinating, because as much as I'm here for football, I'm learning about things that are just as important, and things that I probably take for granted at home, which I'm realizing here that like just minor things, like how travel is here, and like the roads are so different to home, and I think it's cool. I think it's really important for me to be able to see, and I just hope that my family can come out from England one day and see it too. Yeah, no, that's a good question actually. So my dad came out here when he was about 14. He's not been out since. Even like getting he never had a Nigerian passport. My granddad did, but he had to get his before I got mine. So that was an experience in itself, us trying to get our passports. But yeah, I think that is a good question, because a lot of it for me, like a lot of my family who are Nigerian, they either live here and I don't get to speak to them much, like I speak to them over the phone. Some I haven't even met but I've just spoken to, or I have family in England who can tell me as much as they want about Nigeria, but like I said before, I have to be in it to really experience it. So yeah, I have a lot of family at the minute who like I said, I haven't even met, but I'm getting messages about the guys that live here, and they're saying how proud they are and they're hearing so much about it, which is nice, because for me that's what it's all about. It's not just playing for the team, but how I can influence other people in my family, and especially young kids like my sister. Yeah, the frustration only comes from myself, to be honest. There's nothing here that frustrates me. It's just like I'm very British, and you can watch like all the guys in the Premier League, you know, and you see how English people are like typically very vocal and they're very passionate about football in the same way that you are, but we show it a lot on the pitch. And I think it's been so interesting to see. I think it's been good for me to be around some of these players who have such a good work ethic but just get on with it. And there's never any like complaints. We just kind of, you go 100% and nothing less, and everybody expects that from one another, which I really, really like about it out here. I kind of had that in America as well, and obviously being in England, we're all very passionate, but just seeing the differences in like culture, I think, is brought into that as well. So like culture, obviously you can't separate football and culture, because how you've been brought up, it affects how you play on the pitch. And yeah, that's something that I've been it's very noticeable. The food is an interesting one, because at home, like my stepmom cooks it, and she was taught by my auntie. So my stepmom is like white British. My dad is the Nigerian one, and he doesn't even cook the food. And everything I have at home like is super, super hot, like more hot than it has been here. Like I've been able to have the food here, but at home, like I have to have milk with all the food because it's so hot. But yeah, at home I love moi moi. I've spoken to a lot of people here about it, and they're always like, no, I don't like it. Like a lot of the girls, they don't really like it, but it's like my favourite thing at home. The jollof rice here as well isn't as spicy as what it is at home, which is great because it means I can eat it. I got to be honest, I have to like adapt a little bit. Like my stomach, the first like 2 days, my stomach was like hurting me because the food is different. But I feel like I've got a little bit accustomed now, and I said to my family as well, it's important for me to trying to have something different every day, just so I can tell them what I have had. And just how different it is. Yeah, I feel like English food is pretty bland, so it's nice to be able to try things that have a bit more flavour. Obviously things like that, like I'm somebody who, and I say this at my club as well, I try and take one thing at a time. Like I don't want to look too far ahead, because there's things we have to concentrate on in like the near future. Obviously we play to be in big tournaments, so experiences like that would be immense, and obviously there'll be a lot of pride being able to represent Nigeria being there. But at the minute I'm just trying to prove my worth here. I don't just want to be here just because I'm from England and I play for Leicester. I have to show like my ability, and like you said, the style of football is very different, so I need to make sure that I can fit into that, and hopefully if things work out, I can be there and try as best as I can to represent this country as well as I can. No, I haven't, which is really annoying. It's mainly because of COVID, because they've kind of separated us off a little bit. We recently had like a memorial for the chairman who died, and myself and the two other captains went, and then the men's team were there as well. It was the first time we'd actually been around them, but it was kind of like in and out, and they had a game to prepare for. But other than that, no, I'm just waiting on that. Yeah, very good question. So like I said, Leicester is my hometown club, so it means something to me. The same way that I'll just describe like being here with Nigeria, I don't want to be here just for the sake of being here. The same way I'm at Leicester for a reason. It holds value, and it's hard at the minute. We are going through a tough period because we are losing, and that potentially affects me more because it is my hometown club and I've supported them since I was a kid. But I have a lot of belief in the team. Like you said, every team kind of goes through a rough patch, but I fully back my team and how much passion we have for one another and how much we want to stay in this league, because we worked so hard to get to it, and we know the Super League is one of the most competitive leagues in the world, so we couldn't just expect to go in there and be competing at the top straight away. There was no way. But it's a good learning experience for me, because I'm obviously young and still trying to get better, and I'm trying to learn from everybody around me. So it's just kind of being a sponge, so to speak, soaking up as much as I can and making sure that we stay in the league and push on next season. I've got to be honest, it's been really hard the last day or two, because I've been out of touch with everything that's going on back home, and the Morgan family, but like obviously Jonathan is our head coach and Holly is our assistant coach, so it's like there's a few guys and few of them in the family that work there and have done so much to get us to the Super League, and I'm close to them as a family anyway, so it's hard for me at the minute to communicate with them and my team and things like that. But at the end of the day, we are bothered about what is best for Leicester, and football sometimes is football, and obviously it's so results driven, which I guess as soon as you get higher up, everything becomes a bit more, it's business-like at the end of the day. But yeah, as you talk about the Morgan family, I feel for them, because they have endured a lot and done a lot for the club, so it's almost like we owe it to them to do well for the rest of the season. Definitely, I think I've got to be honest, that's one of my passions anyway. I know I'm on camp at the minute and I'd love to be able to come here again, but I would love to be able to visit like young kids who, whether it's football or not, I just think it's important that you encourage any kid who has a passion for something to not sacrifice for it. I don't necessarily believe in that word, so to speak, but to put everything they have into it, because if that's what they enjoy, then that can allow you to travel, see different places, and for me, like, I'm experiencing a culture that I've never been in before, so it's important for kids to be able to do that, because for some of them, they only know what they know, if that makes sense. They've been brought up in one place, and I think there is so much to experience for me, football happens to be the thing that I'm doing, and I get to experience a lot and meet a lot of people, and I'd only wish for that for so many other kids as well. Yeah, I think this camp is really good. Tony said something similar earlier. Obviously training camps are important. Everybody wants to be playing games, but training camps are where you get to identify the shortcomings from games and on the pitch, and you can basically work on tactical things that you can't necessarily work on when you're playing against other teams. So I think it's important to nail down the finer details in prep for like a very hard game. Thank you.